Hello, you hardcores out there. How are you doing? I'm joined by Jerry. How are you doing, Jerry?
I'm all right, Ross. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I've not long been in. Not long since got in. How's life treating you, mate?
Um, nothing crazy to report back. Just same old, same old. Just busy doing stuff around the house this weekend.
Yeah. What are you doing? Painting, Jerry?
Um, it's been pretty rainy over the last month, so I've just actually been able to get out this week, cut the garden, and do a bit of trimming and stuff like that. So no painting, mate,
No.
but plenty in the garden.
You love gardening, don't you, Jerry? Yo.
Um, well, it's more to keep the house looking tidy. It's not really. I'm not really interested in it, like, but just to keep the neighborhood looking up to scratch, you know.
Have you got a fly mold, Jerry?
No, it's a bit bigger than that.
Or is it a big garden you've got?
That's well, it's not huge. It's like seeing your backyard in one of the videos. It's probably about the same size as yours, but it's grass. You look like it was all paving.
Yeah. Well, what can you do? I'm not a gardener, me, Jerry.
No, my mum would be, but I haven't inherited her green fingers. But it does take a bit of maintenance.
Yeah. Okay. A lot to go through, so let's get stuck in. Canelo, Munguia, did you watch it?
Yeah, what's it this morning, Russ?
What do you think?
Uh, what do I think? I was really disturbed by the commentary that I was listening to. Um,
Yeah.
maybe I'm completely wrong. I thought Munguia was doing a lot better than the commentary was giving him credit for. I also think the scorecards maybe should have been closer. I did watch a video earlier today regarding the fight, and I believe it was Hatman's channel, and
Yeah.
he was sort of mentioning about you're either one of these people who score fights for people or volume punching rather than necessarily the cleaner work. And I couldn't help find myself sitting on that side of the fence where I was basically thinking, I think Munguia did a hell of a lot more than Canelo in that fight. And there was times where Canelo was just like, he was really just riding the punches and parrying and, say for every 20 punches that Munguia threw, maybe five were getting in. They're scoring punches. And to me, I score my rounds that way. And I actually think Munguia did a lot better than the scorecards suggested. Um, I thought I thought after the knockdown in was that round four, I thought then Canelo was going to take him out, and no, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. I was waiting on that happening, and maybe a couple of rounds later, or was Canelo waiting to the end because he knew basically that he could get him out of there? Was he going to take him out last couple of rounds? Just go for the finish and get the stoppage, and it never happened. It never happened, Russ. So I don't know what you think. My initial prediction was probably going to be Canelo on points, but I actually thought Munguia did a lot better than I guess a lot of people are saying on the results on the scorecards by the judges at the end. What did you think?
Uh, well, my opinion of it basically was this. I wanted Munguia to win because Canelo's had it all
Yeah,
his own way for the last 10 years, hasn't he?
yeah,
He invented a weight at 155 pound, 11 stone one. He was dragging people down from 160 to 155 that had never fought there. So he always looking for an edge. If he gets to points, the judges in Vegas are never going to give it to the away fighter because he's the money man, and he's got a country behind in Mexico, hasn't he?
yeah,
They already let him have Cinco de Mayo every May in Vegas, don't they, more or less? So if
Yeah,
he gets to points and it's tight, he's going to get the nod. However, I think he beat Munguia last night. I've seen it. He beat
yeah.
him. I expected Munguia to put up a better performance, but if you're up against Canelo and you get dropped in the fourth round, you can perform out your skin and you're never going to get the nod. But I thought the scorecards didn't reflect Munguia's performance, but Munguia lost, in my opinion. Do you agree?
Yeah. Do you think then the scorecards could have been a little bit closer then?
Yeah, I think the scorecards could have been a bit closer, but the right man won. So let's not all get our knickers in a twist.
Well, that's fair enough. I think that's a fair enough assessment. Basically, I did think the work rate needed to be kind of reflected a little bit more in the scorecards, but ultimately, yeah, Canelo won, and Munguia can probably come again. As you said, Canelo's been riding high at the top for a long time, so time to turn over some new champions, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, we're going to see, aren't we?
Yep, yep.
Yeah. Okay then. I thought Canelo would be there for the taking, but he weren't. So I got that wrong. But I don't think he's the Canelo of 5 years ago. Do you agree on that, Jerry?
How could you say he was? He's definitely not, Ross. I was so disappointed that he didn't have a little bit more output. I thought he could have done that, particularly to put on the show in front of the crowd and Cinco de Mayo and all that sort of stuff. But basically, I think that's what we're going to see from him now. And maybe he's got another few fights left. I can't remember if it was Adam or Kent was saying he's maybe got another 3 years left, perhaps. But that's what we're going to get. And I was a little bit disappointed at that. I would have liked to seen a bit more from him. He did seem for the first few rounds, he did seem in good shape. But then it just kind of got a bit, he just sort of sat back and waited and picked his moment. And I know he's always sort of fought in bursts anyway, but that was extreme, I thought, last night. Compared to, like, say, the Ryder fight, I just thought it was a little bit lackluster from him. Don't get me wrong; it was a decent fight and it was competitive, but I just kind of thought, like, Jesus, is this what you're going to do? Like, drag on your career with fights like this? Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh on him, but I just think, like, for the reputation that guy's got and stuff, he could have showed us a little bit more. Unless he hasn't got it, and that's what it is. It's the ultimate conservation of energy now for him, because he's been, 65 fights or something. He's probably pushing 34. He is coming to the end of his career, like, so. It's definitely not who we've seen 5 years ago.
Yeah. Beterbiev and Bivol, that's off. Beterbiev's injured. What do you make of that?
Well, it's massively disappointing, but there's one thing I'd have to say regards to this is this would be a legit injury. This is no kind of messing around. You know yourself, Ross. Does Beterbiev mess around? Would Bivol mess around?
No, he's like Usyk, aren't they? They just turn up and fight. They're not money driven, are they?
Exactly. So that's my point. This is a legit injury. The man's had injuries throughout his career. Did he fight with some kind of a knee problem last year? I respect that he's had to call it off, but massively disappointed at the same time. I just really hope that we get to see it maybe towards the end of the year. I hope the injury's nothing, it's totally going to sideline him for, maybe in the next year. I hope, like the saying, it's going to be towards the end of the year. I don't think he out of the two fighters, Beterbiev seemed to be a lot more confident than Bivol. I thought at the press conference
Well,
out.
aren't we?
Yeah, so really sad that that's happened, but hopefully he can make a recovery, and we can see that showdown between the two of them.
Yeah. What do you think to Tony Bellew, 6th of September this year, £165, an evening with Tony, pie and peas, a raffle, a Q&A at the Kingscroft Hotel. Oh my God, what's going on here? £165 a pop to see our Tone. What do you think? Tony, don't get greedy, don't get greedy. Well, he has, hasn't he?
He's the last person, Russ, that I would expect to do some shit like that. I think that's farcical. 167 quid.
165.
Oh, okay, 165 quid. I don't know, mate. Did he not make enough money during his career that he's got to fleece people talking shit over an evening? I don't know. Who's going to pay for that apart from a mug?
Well, they've hardly sold any tickets so far, and it's September, so I'm expecting it to get cancelled. But hey ho, we will see, won't we?
Well, I think that's probably a fair prediction then, if it's not been selling so well.
Well, we'll see, won't we? We'll see.
Yeah.
But it's one of them things, isn't it? I suppose.
Is it
Okay.
something you would go to?
Well, I want to go see him. What, when he rung Dennis up and tried to get me to sack about 5 years ago? I won't piss on him if he were on fire, Tony Bellew. I don't like him. I don't want him in my company. I'll never speak to him in my life. If I don't ever see him again on TV, I'm not going to lose any sleep over him. I think he's a snide cunt. You
I
know,
agree, mate.
so he couldn't hold a candle to me, him, for loyalty. He keeps going on about loyalty with Eddie Earn and this and that. Listen, Tony, we know about you with loyalty. You're only paying Dave Caldwell 25 grand. You were pocketing millions a fight. Mr. Loyalty. So don't talk about loyalty, you're wrong. Bricktop going in on Barry McGuigan. What do you think to that?
Was that over the remarks on Tyson Fury not being elite?
Yeah, and on other things, he seems to be getting it from all angles, Barry McGuigan, doesn't he?
I'm sure Barry McGuigan's not losing any sleep over it. Bricktop's just doing the usual, has to spat for his man, or past fighters in regards to Frampton as well. It's not the first time Bricktop's had to go with Barry McGuigan from my memory. But I'm sure Barry's not going to lose any sleep over it, and nothing's going to change what he did in his career. So Barry can say whatever he wants. Everybody's entitled to an opinion. And if people don't like it, then tough.
Yeah, I agree with that. Bricktop doesn't seem to let out drop though, Jerry, does he really? He's always attacking Frotch or defending his corner, or with his track record, he's the last person, in my opinion, to be throwing stones at people. Do you know what I mean? The last person. I could reel off some of the crimes of Bricktop on here and savage him, but everybody knows what he is and what he was. So, he's brassing himself off now, holding that Arab's hand, isn't he, on telly, front at World's Media. So, he's a brass, in my opinion. So, he's the last person to pipe up. Do you agree?
Yeah. We all know the record. We all know the shenanigans. We all know the court cases. Brassing himself off with the Turkey man, I think, is a fair assessment. I don't know why he's got this whole playground behavior going on with the likes of Frotch and Barry McGuigan, but you're right, he does seem to be at this quite a bit now, where he won't let things go. He can't just let it. I think Eddie Hearn deals with this stuff a lot better. Whereas Bricktop throws the toys out of the pram, and he starts losing his mind, and suddenly he turns it into a conflict.
Mm. Yeah, it's not good. What do you think to Eddie Hills and the Gad and all the rest of the monitor lizards going after Ryan Garcia in media, but not a peek at them regarding Crusher Ben?
Well, it's just typical form, really. God's best mate, the crushinator, and obviously it's Hearn's fighter, so he's not going to say diddly squat about the drug tests failed, etc. It's hypocritical, like the way they've gone about that whole thing. Bit of a shock. That's not what I was expecting to happen, Garcia. Maybe some people thought he was a bit dodgy with the 3 pounds over, but I just put that down to him living like a lunatic. But yeah, I mean, fair enough. Criticize the guy if he's failed 2 drug tests, but know when to stop, because it makes Eddie Hearn look completely hypocritical regarding Crusher Ben, and obviously the Gad is a complete and utter idiot anyway. So he just licks everybody's arsehole who he can. So the less said about him, the better, I think.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose it's all a bit of a mess. But the Gad's doing BKB commentary with Robin Reed now. Bare knuckle.
Oh, really?
Gets everywhere, doesn't he? Yeah, the Gad, doesn't he? He's here, he's
Unbelievable.
there, he's every effing where. The Gad, the Gad, the Gad, the Gad, the Gad. You know what I mean? He's starting to
Yeah,
annoy me. If I see him at a show, I'm going to drown him in a pint of Stella.
I think you should do that, Ross.
Yeah, I think I should, mate. Or swing him about by his ponytail and pluck it out like a Buxton chicken. Leave his head looking like Chucky doll, a Chucky doll. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty funny to see, actually. So I'm sure a lot of people would be standing around and giving you an applause. Sorry. So
Uh, Paulie Malignaggi, he always seems to pipe up when somebody fails a dope test, doesn't he?
what's he saying now?
He's going after Ryan Garcia, but I mean, this is how I look at it, right? When they fail dope tests, they've cheated, haven't they? But depending on how big a star you are, or how much money you've got, or what lawyers you've got around you, they
Yeah,
all seem to like get off with it, don't they? And stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Or throw doubt into the equation, you know?
yeah, and that's not the way it should be. Unfortunately, it's a problem. You've got this much clout behind you. You're able to, you know, brush it under the table. And it's not good for the sport at all. Uh, do you think there's any weight behind the conspiracy theories that it's down to Eddie Hearn, or do you think that's the logical kind of excuse that Garcia is going to give because he's basically guilty?
Well, this is how I look at it, right? And I'm just gonna talk in layman terms here. I'm a coal miner's son, me, right? And we just cut to chase where I live, right? This is how I look at it. When have we ever heard anybody admit a rape? We never hear that way because it's a heinous crime, isn't it? When do
Yeah,
we hear anybody admit that they cheated in a sport where you're bashing people in head? We don't hear it, do we? Yeah, we might hear it from sprinters, but they're not punching people in the face, are they? So there's no. It's like there's like a bad stigma with being caught with performance enhancing drugs because you're trying to cheat to land punches on somebody as hard as you can and punch the face in and cheat, or you're trying to avoid punches or absorb punches because you're roided out your minds. So I look at it like this. If it's in your system, you're a cheat. Admit it. But when have we ever heard anybody admit it? Can you name one person in the sport of boxing who said, yeah, I'm a cheat? Is it one? There's a woman, isn't there? I forgot her name now, but there's one woman, isn't there, that's done it. That's it. Oh, Larry Alabama. But Larry Alabama, do you know, from London, he cheated, didn't he? Admitted it, didn't he? But after he got caught.
well, the majority of people, there's the odd exception, but you're right. Most people don't admit that they've using banned substances. And I think the one of the best examples of how they handled it was actually what Canelo did. You know, it, he sort of went with the whole he's got his hair follicle tests and all that sort of stuff. You
Yeah.
know, that was a good way. That's what you should do if you do get found out. You know, don't sort of be a complete arsehole about it. Like basically the way Conor Ben has behaved over the last couple of years, in my opinion.
Well, Conor Benn's situation's now 22 months in. 22 months in, and it's still not dealt with. Pop, pop, bang on that one, Conor.
Unbelievable.
Hey, what is going on, Jerry? It's craziness, absolute crazy. But Paulie Malignaggi, he always pipes up when somebody fails. I don't know why. He's not the drug testing police, is he? Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah, yeah.
I can see where he's coming from. But for me, Ryan Garcia and my pal Richard, who comes on channel, called it. Ryan Garcia were acting like a raving lunatic leading up to this fight. So I don't know, mate. I don't know. It's he says it's an inside job though, Garcia. What do you think to that?
I just think Eddie Hearn probably laughed at that. Inside job, my ass. Richard's right. The fella's been acting like a complete and utter nutcase. The last, I don't know what, couple of months. He's sort of known for weird behavior as well. I heard an interesting theory that after the Tank Davis loss was maybe Garcia looking for an edge. Maybe he took some bad advice, or he went looking for dodgy advice, and he jumped on the peds and decided I'm gonna sort this out and get ahead of the pack again. And he's done what every drug cheat has done, and taken stuff that he shouldn't have. I don't buy any conspiracy theory, Ross. I don't buy that at all. I think that's just fucking nonsense.
Yeah. I don't. Look, it's caught in the system, right? So why don't they just put their hands up? If you're caught, admit it. They never admit it. Liam Cameron, Dennis's fighter, when I worked for Dennis, he got caught and he denied it to death. Denied it to death. So as he took it or what, he said, no, I've just handled money. That's closest I've been to cocaine. But it's in his system. Handling money, it's not going to get in your system like that, is it? Come on. That's what the experts are saying. So, and when they say adverse findings, it's only a minute bit or whatever. Well, that's all it's ever going to be, in it. It's in your system, and the strict liability rules state if it's in your system, you're solely responsible. Am I right?
100%.
So why do we have all this knackers, utter knackers to put up with? It's starting to do my head in, Matt. I wasted my time with this boxing game, me, because they just stood in the penthouses on the balcony with the cocks out, taking a piss on us all.
It's a joke.
Absolute joke. So anyway, I want to move off from this situation because it'll just put me in a bad mood. Right, Yarde and Boazzi. Ben Shalom, right? He couldn't hold a piss up in a brewery. He can't even get that over the line here. Yarde and Boazzi. I mean, does anybody even know who Boazzi is, Jerry?
No, it's really sad that he couldn't get that. That should have been an easy fight to make. I don't know what Shalom's doing. I'm wondering, has he phoned Turkey during this week and said Boazzi will stand in for Beterbiev, against Bivol? Because, like you said, who knows who Boazzi is outside of the UK? That would be a good opportunity for him. I don't. He shouldn't be he shouldn't be having to fight another opponent though. He should be fighting. It should be a good domestic dust up to see who's best light heavy. Anthony Yarde's faced, much more world level opposition. Boazzi is taking that step. It's the perfect opponent, in my opinion, for Boazzi to fight. And Ben Shalom needs to get a grip back and start knowing how to work with people. because he's just screwing everything up. Screwing everything up.
Yeah, I mean, who's Yarde's best win anyway? What's going on with Yarde, man? And Boats, they're like going under the radar, aren't they? Why can't they get him in ring? What's going on, Jerry? It's driving me mad.
I don't know. I think people are sort of. I remember when Anthony Yarde first showed up, and people were just fixated by muscly physique and young looking fella, etc. And I never, I think he's decent. Like, I don't think he's anything amazingly special though. And I think we've seen that every time he's stepped up. He's lost. So let's get real about it. Like, he's obviously not a world beater. Like, otherwise he would have done the business, and he hasn't. So I don't know. I think people are just kind of fixated by sometimes the muscles and the guy who looks the best over like actual talent. I don't know how they can't make that fight though. It's a complete and utter nonsense. That should be an easy fight to make, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, they can't seem to make it. He's struggling to make fights. I mean, Ben Shalom's not really set the world on fire since he got that Sky exclusive, has he? Really?
That's an understatement. I think? Yeah, it is. It is.
I agree, mate. I agree. So Devin Haney is wanting his loss changed to a no contest, which you can understand. But do you think it might be? He might have a claim here against Garcia. You know what Americans are like for suing? They'll sue you for looking at them wrong way, won't they?
Yeah. I understand the position. The whole thing stinks. Because obviously I said in another video I thought Haney was going to win, and I don't feel so bad about that because quite a lot of other people thought Haney on points, and we were all proven wrong. And then you find out that the man who has punched the other fella around the ring is failed 2 drugs tests for it's 2 different substances, I think. I heard spoken about. And that just leaves a bad taste in everybody's mouth, I think, after watching, sort of not necessarily a shock, but quite a lot of people like myself were not expecting that outcome. And there's Haney kind of, as far as I know, the title doesn't get exchanged because Garcia was 3 pounds over, so that becomes vacant. Either way, Haney has the belt taken off him. So if I was him, I would be annoyed. Is he going to sue? Well, you said it yourself. That's what the Yanks are like. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's a big, horrible court case about that. So we'll see.
Well, listen, this is how I look at it, Jerry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Garcia's doped out in his head. He's failed 2 tests before the fight and after, so it'll get moved to a no contest. Devin Haney got smashed to pieces, lost his 0. Sure as eggs are eggs, he will be suing him because it's America, innit? They sue you if you fart on a bus next to them. They'll sue you and say they fucking choked to death.
Yes, exactly, mate. Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it is what it is, isn't it? But okay then. But I think Devin Haney's finished, and he probably got a case for suing actually. And that Garcia, he's one of them, right? Touch wood, but I think he'll end up going berserk in the end. I think he's crackers.
I think so too, mate.
I think his head will go,
He's got the signs. I mean, you've been around the block yourself. I've been around the block a bit myself. I've seen people. I remember, being in people like that's company, and they all came to a sticky end. Just, you were like, that fucking guy's nuts, So yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah, I do, mate. Okay, moving on then, Jerry. But getting back to that Garcia thing before we move on, I think there's more twists and turns to come in that Garcia story. He's pleading innocent like everybody else, and they're going to go through social media way to to get that point across. But all right, Dubois and Hrgovic jump first. Does anybody even care about these two planks of wood? I mean,
That's
let's have
hard,
it
mate.
right. If they walk by you in the street, nobody know who they are, would they?
Yeah, but me and you would.
Me and you would, but you know,
Yeah.
my mum and dad wouldn't. They'd say, "Who are them big stiffs? Are they doormen?
Um,
Are they just doormen that are looking for a door job? You know what I mean?"
well, let's be honest. There's a lot of boxers who are good boxers, and nobody knows who they are. But I think that's more of a case of the state the sport's in. If I'm honest, also people have a lot more things to consume these days. Their mind's not sort of focused. You know how it was, mate. You had 4 channels back in the day, whenever I was young, and everybody watched all the same things on TV. And when there was big fights on, everybody knew about big fights. And when there was big fights on, everybody heard of the fighters. And we just don't live in that day and age anymore. And if you have someone like an Olympian in Philip Hrgovic, and you have a young talent like, to be fair, they're both young. But if you've got Daniel Dubois then as well, rising up and coming heavyweight, it's not that far fetched in this day and age to say, have you heard of these guys? And someone turns around and goes, no, because people's minds are all over the place now with different distractions and different things. Unfortunately, it's diluted the fame of boxers, even really good boxers.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm looking forward to that one, but to be honest, myself.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Who you got winning that one, Jerry? Dubois or Hrgovic, or are you even bothered?
I'm not bothered, but I've always felt like I wanted to see Hrgovic fulfill what everybody thought he was going to bring to the table. So I think you just need to see him in the right firefight with somebody and could bring it out. But either way, if Daniel Dubois comes on and sort of fulfills the hype around him, then I'll not be disappointed. I thought he did very well, obviously, just before Christmas, beating the face off that drug cheat, Miller. But I'm picking Hrgovic. I'm picking Hrgovic because I've seen a few interviews with him and he seems like he's up for it. I'm a lot more positive, which is good to see. And I just hope that the guy can put on a good show and Dubois can put on a good show and everybody gets entertained.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to go on to part 2, Jerry, please?
Yeah, no worries, mate. I'll see you over there.
Cheers, mate. Don't forget to join us on part 2. Pop, pop, bang. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. Booyaka.